What happened?
Must have
No
got it.
sound, Joe.
Hold on. Hold on. I think I got sound now. Okay. So let's go
Can
back,
every
shall
can
we?
everybody hear us?
Yes, they hear us now. Once again, I got Microsoft update. I should have realized it because the computer updated something overnight. So anyway, we have severe thunderstorm watches up, and that means that there are severe thunderstorms, and we're watching them right here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support by doing your Amazon shopping using our referral link that's on the description to this podcast, and also brought to you by Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is pinned to the top of the chat board. And it's also on the descriptor to this podcast. I'll tell you what, Tom Contino, buy me an Apple computer via the Amazon and send it to me. Okay? So there. Use the coupon code summer 2025. And if you do, you will get.
10% off. Now I'm impressed because my wife, Mrs. Rayo, just posted 1.25 inches in our rain bucket, and really, I came down here down to the office to fire everything up about 5 or 6 minutes ago, and at that time we had 1.07. So in that short interval of time, we've gone from 1.07 to 1.25. The rain really didn't start until just before 7 o'clock. So we're seeing rain, Joe, here in Putnam Valley coming down at the rate of about 2 inches per hour because we've
Nice.
had 1 inch and a half an hour, and it's still coming down like cats and dogs. So it's a pretty amazing round of wet weather that we're going through right at this moment in time.
We had two solid thunderstorms here in my house in North Georgia this afternoon, and producing about a little less, just under 1.6 inches of rainfall. And actually, it was nice because right before the thunderstorm started, the temperature was at about 82 or 3. There actually were two thunderstorms. While it was raining, the temperature dropped to 68. And right now, I'm sitting at 77. WABC. Anyway, we've got busy radars tonight, and I guess you could go ahead and get going. I will point out, by the way, that there's a lot of flash flood warnings that are up from what I'm seeing. Um,
Yes, we have an aerial flood advisory in my vicinity, which covers northern Westchester and part of Putnam County till 10 o'clock tonight, and with good reason. When you start seeing rain coming down at the rate of 2 inches per hour, as it apparently is doing right now, you will get flooding in areas of poor drainage. Now, I am sharing right now the view from the Upton radar and New York City radar, and you can see this skinny line which runs from south central Massachusetts down across, almost cuts Connecticut diagonally from northeast to southwest, and then across into my area. And you can see all here this yellow orange coloration. It's not as intense as it was here a little while ago, but is still coming down at a pretty good clip. And this activity is moving, generally speaking, from east northeast to west southwest. And I'm going to assume that maybe in the next hour or so, this activity will wind down and maybe even come to an end for a while. But for the next hour or so, we're going to be in the thick of things here in the lower Hudson Valley in terms of pretty significant rainfall. It's also raining across portions of New York, Long Island, northern sections of New Jersey. They had some big boomers. I think unofficially in some parts of central New Jersey, I heard about one place that had like 7 inches of rain. Did you hear that, Joe? Or I'm not.
no, I didn't, but you know what? I will check and see if I can verify this. There is a flash flood warning ongoing in southern Monmouth. It looks like southern Monmouth. I'm doing this off, just off the map. Southern Monmouth, northern Ocean County. So unless it was another flash flood warning somewhere else earlier, but that's what's up there right now. And there's a half a dozen flash flood warnings still ongoing in southeastern Pennsylvania. But I'll check on that and I'll let you know.
You could see that this area right here, it literally forms right before your eyes. There's a line of heavy duty showers and storms across central and southern Jersey. It developed about 90 minutes ago and then worked its way quickly over to the coast. It's now moving off the coast of Ocean County, and behind it there seems to be a little bit of a gap, a little bit of an opening, and then more wet weather. Although that wet weather that's moving in from the west looks to be just light rain, but the really heavy stuff with embedded heavy thunderstorm activity, that again apparently is moving off the Jersey coastline right now. Let's go further south and east, south and west, I should say. You could see that line also affected portions of central Delaware and down into parts of eastern Maryland, where they have a couple of clusters of moderate to heavy activity. Here's the Washington, D.C. area. Washington apparently is surrounded by heavy rain. There is actually moderate to heavy rain just to the west of the nation's capital, and it looks like if it continues moving the way it has been moving, Washington will get into that in the next half hour or so. So we go further. Let's go down into this is Roanoke, and you can see that in Roanoke they have their own fair share of locally heavy cells of precipitation. One band here over central sections of Virginia, and then there's another area crossing through West Virginia and on into western sections of Virginia. And we go further south down into central and western North Carolina. They're also seeing some heavy activity. This, again, could be very well embedded thunderstorm activity, embedded convection. And again, any area that is subject to this may be seeing some very heavy rainfall and gusty winds as well. We continue further south. Let's go down south and east into, go to Columbia in South Carolina. And you can see moving in from Joe's state, Georgia, there are some showers and storms moving into the northwest corner of South Carolina. And also down here over southern South Carolina, there's another area that has popped up or blown up within the last half hour or 45 minutes. Again, small but localized thunderstorm activity, which is moving slowly toward the northeast. There are more showers and storms into Georgia. In fact, if we go to Georgia, let's go to Atlanta, Peachtree City, and you can see there's that area I just pointed out, moving into South Carolina. But there are other areas of showers and storms. Joe, I presume you're right about here with the.
Hold on a second. Just a second. Go ahead. Yeah, kind of.
All right, so I'm seeing that those are some of the storms that affected you earlier. Looks like that's now off to your south and east, and you may now be in a little bit of a call, if you will, a little brief area of dry weather. Although there's another round trying to move down from the extreme western end of North Carolina, right about here, and so you may be brushed by that in the next hour or so. And there's more activity over in the adjacent state of Alabama. Alabama getting hit with some significant shower and storm activity, mainly over the southern section of that state. Anywhere else that we could
No,
check out?
I think that covers it.
All right, so you can see that it's wet out there. It's wet mostly from central and southern New York all the way down into the Southland, and again, this activity will gradually peter out over the next few hours. Although I will say that showers here in the New York area may linger beyond midnight. Not thunderstorms. I think we'll be done with the thunder after about 9 o'clock or so. But beyond that, we could still have lingering showers all the way till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning before all of that finally quits. And then tomorrow, we'll be looking for clearing, slow clearing. We'll probably start out cloudy, then gradually the sun will come out during the midday and afternoon. And it looks like still, Joe, somewhat humid weather tomorrow. Not as humid as today, but still on the sticky side. We will get relief from all of this humidity, significant relief by later Thursday and Friday. From this vantage point, the Independence Day holiday looks to be just perfect.
I wasn't able to verify that specific amount. I was looking at some of the storm. There were only a couple of storm reports so far. In parts of southern Monmouth County, apparently a number of people are trapped in their homes and cars because of the flash flooding. Same for North Ocean County. And in southeast Pennsylvania, they had a tornado warning up earlier this evening. Again, not many storm reports that have been posted on the Weather Service website, at least not yet. We still have the watch up, basically for central and south Jersey, down into Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. There's also flash flood watches that are up underneath the severe thunderstorm watch. There's another severe thunderstorm watch in western Nebraska and western South Dakota, and a few counties also in northeast Wyoming. Still seeing flash flood watches up in southwest Texas, and a little bit of heat up in the northwest, where we've got various red flag warnings, and also we have the heat advisories up. I think those are red flag warning. Uh, it's so hard to tell with these colors. I am not good with these colors. The red flag warning, you would think they would use red. Uh, yeah, but no, those are all red flag warnings that are out. They're not, because the color for excessive heat is virtually the same. So there you have it. And here's the satellite loop tonight. Uh, those thunderstorms, if you look at where the lightning strikes are, uh, there are some broken pieces along the way, but basically it's a broken line of storms that extends from northeastern Massachusetts and goes all the way down through the Appalachians and Georgia and into Alabama. So it's a pretty impressive area of thunderstorms here. A lot of lightning strikes going on through Virginia into North Carolina and also into Georgia, south of me, where we're seeing a lot of lightning strikes showing up on the satellite loop. And on the wider radar view, you can see it's all pretty well connected. Although most of the severe boxes are up in northeastern Virginia, north and east, whether they be flash flooding or severe thunderstorm warnings. There are actually a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that expired just moments ago in northeastern Connecticut, and then one remains in southeastern Massachusetts. And we have a few showers also going on in Florida. Showery rains back through Texas. Some tropical moisture work its way up into South Texas, and also seeing some bands of showers up further north and West Texas. We've got showery rains going on in the Southwest and up through the Rockies with an embedded thunderstorm or two here and there, as well as in Northern California and in Southern Oregon. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings have popped up there. So there you have it. The Storm Prediction Center for tonight. This was the last forecast updated about 3:30 this afternoon. We still have this slight risk from Northeast Virginia through New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania, although it's more on the eastern and southern part of that now than it is to the western part. The marginal risk going up to Maine, the marginal risk in the other direction going southwest through the deep south. We have a marginal to slight risk in Nebraska and southwestern Nebraska, western South Dakota, which explains the severe thunderstorm watch that's up there, and a marginal risk in eastern Idaho and in a small portion of southwest Montana. Now, for tomorrow, it's not much going on. Now, there may be some of the models are showing this front kind of slowing down and briefly stalling overnight, and another little ripple of thunderstorms develops on it after midnight. So those may linger to just before daybreak, but gradually as the day goes on, we should see improvement, as Joe pointed out. And we have a marginal risk for Minnesota, Iowa, and eastern South Dakota east to Michigan tomorrow, as well as in Montana, western North Dakota, central Idaho, into eastern Oregon. Now, Thursday, and this is when we have this upper low that's dropping southeastward through eastern Canada and then swinging into New England. The Storm Prediction Center has a marginal risk for just about all of New Jersey, the eastern half of Pennsylvania, north and east through much of upstate New York and all of New England. I would not be shocked if a little bit of a slight risk gets put in there. Sometimes when you get these types of systems, which are basically dew point fronts that are going to be coming through, you can sometimes get some pretty wicked thunderstorms out of those things. So I don't want to discount this in any way, at least not tonight. A marginal risk also exists on Thursday in southern Wisconsin, southern Michigan, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, northeast Iowa, southeast Minnesota, and then another marginal risk for western North Dakota and part of western South Dakota and easternmost Montana. And then you've got the 7 day rainfall amounts. Now, some of what you see in the east is front end loaded because once we get past Thursday, probably for everybody from the Mississippi River east is hardly going to see anything in the form of rain through the weekend. So that's promising, especially because of the holiday weekend, which all 3 days I think are going to be rain free. But up in the northern plains and in the western lakes, you're looking at anywhere from a half an inch to some areas with an inch and a half, and that actually even extends down into the southern plains and into West Texas. Showery rains in the west, except for coastal California, and then on up into coastal Oregon and Washington. I'm hearing some thunder, by the way, just so you know. So hopefully I don't lose power. So let's jump ahead just for a moment and look at the upper air for Thursday because the jet is basically lowering in the eastern part of the United States. And you can see by Thursday morning, there's a fairly strong short wave that's in over Lake Huron that swings eastward. Now the models are still trying to cut this off, but they what they do is they swing the short wave through and then form the cutoff sometime on Friday, and then it drops through Maine and off the New England coast. That's actually a good thing because yeah, we'll probably have that risk for thunderstorms as this trough swings through on Thursday. But with everything cutting off well to the northeast on Friday, it bodes well for Friday weather-wise. It should be a dry day, a sunny day with low humidities, relatively low humidities, and temperatures in the reasonable low and mid 80s. Are we on the same page with this?
Yeah, the situation for Thursday, you were talking about, the possibility of maybe some convection, some thunderstorms. It kind of reminds me of what you'd see in the late spring, with these uh, upper level, these cool pools of air that move across the Northeast, and they produce sometimes low top convection. In other words, low top thunderstorms, which produce brief heavy rains, gusty winds, also hail. A little bit of hail. Now, I looked at the marginal risk, and they really didn't tell me much beyond the fact that it's level one on the five point scale for severity. But still, you're right, Joe. These could be, nasty little storms if they happen to pass directly over your neighborhood. And it's one of those cases where somebody gets hit hard, and 5 miles up the road, it just looks very ominous and cloudy, but nothing happens. This is, again, more typical of what you see in March and April and sometimes early May. So it's that kind of a scenario they'll be setting up. And yeah, look at that upper flow Friday morning coming right out of Quebec, northern and central Quebec. It's a wonderful airflow. That's the kind of flow that'll bring low dew points, pleasant temperatures. It'll be great. So if that holds true, Friday, 4th of July looks to be a very, very nice day around here. And then slowly but surely, as the ridge builds in from the Great Lakes, we'll begin to see the dew points start to climb. Still comparatively comfortable, but a bit warmer on Saturday, upper 80s. And instead of low to mid 50 dew points, maybe like upper 50s to near 60. You can live with that. But then it looks like Sunday, we'll really see temperatures warm to or maybe above 90 and maybe low to mid 90s for the start of next week on Monday.
We can see, by the way, as I said, everybody not only east of the Mississippi, but maybe a little further west than that, um, basically dry. And it starts in the south. It actually starts on Thursday, which is good because we get a little bit of a break from the rain here. There's your high that comes down. There are some stronger storms Friday in Minnesota and eventually into Wisconsin by the time we get to Saturday morning. So that's probably where we're going to see some severe weather risk from Nebraska northeast to Minnesota on Friday. But again, the East, for the most part, in pretty good shape. The moisture even diminishes to some degree over Florida, although there are going to be some showers and thunderstorms running around from day to day. There is a trough, by the way, that is sitting over the northeastern Gulf and off the coast of Florida, the east coast of Florida, and it's going to sit there probably into early next week. Now, the Europeans picking up a little low that forms well east of the South Carolina coast, and it just kind of drifts it westward. The model doesn't seem to be doing much with it. It also appears that we are going to turn warmer, and certainly by Sunday, it'll probably be hot and humid, getting back above 90 in some places. And the start of next week probably looks to be on the hot and humid side. Now, there's a backdoor front up to the north that the European sort of gets it through here on Tuesday and leaves it basically right over southern New England, New York City, and back into Pennsylvania and Ohio. So that's why you see that it has some showers and thunderstorms. On Monday, they're mostly to the north. On Tuesday, they're virtually right overhead. And there's risk for thunderstorms. Looks like the front just basically falls apart. And there's the risk for thunderstorms next Wednesday, next Thursday, not so much next Friday, maybe to some extent, and then Saturday and Sunday next week. And when a stronger front and a slightly stronger high come in behind that one. So, we're in this pattern where it's going to get, it may get hot for a day or two, but it's not going to go crazy heat to 100 again. And then something will come along. And the only other thing I would point out is that with that backdoor front to the north, you got to be a little bit careful because models sometimes underplay the push of cooler air coming down with these backdoor fronts. So for now, it leaves it to the north. I'm looking at the GFS, which kind of does the same thing that the European does, Joe, where it brings the front down Monday night and then it just sort of lays it right across southern New England over New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And you got showery rains and thunderstorm risks from Tuesday into Wednesday, and then more coming for later next week. But at least we can say, with fairly confidently that this is not, I mean, it's not the same heat wave pattern like we saw that started last weekend and then lasted into the very beginning of last weekend before last. I'm sorry,
Right.
weekend before
Thank goodness
last.
for that. But it is going to turn, it will be turning hotter, I think, for the time we get to the beginning of next week. So on Friday, get out there, enjoy it, savor it. Even Saturday's not going to be all that bad, but I think Sunday and especially Monday of next week, we're going to be back to or above 90. Not the 100-degree temperatures, as Joe just mentioned, but still, it'll feel hotter than it really is because you're going to become very quickly accustomed to the wonderful weather we're going to have here on Friday. And so anything, even a little above that will feel much warmer or hotter. But still, I think the best thing that we can say right now is that for the upcoming big 4th of July holiday on Friday, for all the events that are going to be taking place, the barbecues, the picnics, and of course the fireworks displays Friday night, the weather will be about as nice as you could possibly hope for.
I'm hearing thunder. Must be the Lord. He's coming after me. Um, so far, no power outage. Okay, I'm good. So, how about a little Briller Jeopardy, shall we?
I do believe I'm the one with it tonight,
You're the one tonight. Yes, you were the
so I'm
last
going to,
correct questioner. Please select.
yes. And while I get Briller Jeopardy up, I was complaining about this to Renata the other day, and she said, "Get over it, Joe. Get over it. It's there. This is the way it is now." And the thing that I was upset about is the fact that yes, Friday is the 4th of July, and I don't know about you, Joe, but I remember when I was a young nipper, 4th of July usually meant baseball doubleheaders,
Oh,
and we don't see that anymore.
they don't do those anymore unless
But
they
now,
absolutely have to.
well, tonight, for example, the Met game at Citi Field was rained out with the Milwaukee Brewers. So I don't know. Will they play a day-night doubleheader tomorrow? Will they play a regular, good old-fashioned two-for-one doubleheader tomorrow? Or I don't know yet what they plan. But the thing that really gets me is 4th of July on Friday. The Mets are going to play the Yankees. I mean, this is one of the big games of the season. And I said, my God, 4th of July, Mets versus Yankees. And then I see what time it's going to begin, 3 o'clock. And I said, wait a minute, 4th of July, it starts at 3 o'clock. What happened to the Mets used to have on the 4th of July, games at like 8 o'clock. So after the game, you have a huge fireworks display. No fireworks. It's just going to be a 3 o'clock
Go
game against.
home and light, you pay $50 for parking, go home and light your own firecrackers, for God's sake.
Exactly. You know, yeah, and Renata said something to the effect like that. Well, maybe they want to get everybody home in time so they can go and look at some great
Well,
fireworks in their
I mean,
neighborhood.
aren't they going to do the annual Macy's fireworks display?
Yeah, but it's
So maybe
if the game's
they figured probably will, do the ball game so it doesn't conflict.
yeah, but the Mets used to have fireworks night, and some of the fireworks, the displays from the Garucci people.
Yeah, but
I
the
mean, my
Gucci
God.
people are doing the Macy's parade, so they probably can't the Macy's fireworks, which is a huge production. So they probably don't have the. I mean, would they? They have to probably devote everything to that. I know, Joe. I know.
All of you who are Frank Sinatra fans out there, you remember that line in the song "There Used to Be a Ballpark"? And there used to be rock candy and a great big 4th of July with the fireworks exploding all across the summer sky. Hey, Frank, if you were still here now, ain't no fireworks displays exploding across the great summer sky over the ballpark this year. And it's a Yankee Met game. That's probably going to draw. That's probably going to be a sell. It probably is a sellout on Friday. What more could you possibly have asked for but a fireworks display? But it ain't happening. But you know what, Joe? You're probably right. The Garucci's probably said, "Well, we'd love to be able to do the fireworks, but we're going to be concentrating everything on the big Macy's fireworks display, so we don't have any extra fireworks to shoot."
I'm sure
Yeah,
that's the case.
it might. You
Okay,
might be right. You might
rock
be
and
right.
rock and roll with the
Here,
Thriller
here
Jeopardy
we go with
tonight.
Thriller Jeopardy.
That's a new subject.
Yes, new subject tonight. Weather records on July 4th at Central Park. So here we go. Question one: what was the highest temperature ever recorded at Central Park? Now remember, the records go back to 1869.
Mm.
What is the highest temperature ever recorded on July 4th, Independence Day, at Central Park?
I'm going to go with Frank R. When he's got a 101. I'm going to go with that.
That is a pretty damn good guess. It's not right. It's off by just a degree. Is it
All right.
a
Well,
degree
then
too
Tyler
warm?
Fingis got 102, and so does Harold Olson, and Joe Z has 100. So which one is it?
Well, 102.
102.
And I know a lot of you who probably said like 101, 102, 103 are thinking about, oh, that was back in 1966. But it wasn't. 1949 was that
Oh,
102 at Central Park. Um, it turns out that on July 3rd, 1966, LaGuardia hit 107 and Central Park hit 104. But that's not the 4th of July, that's July the 3rd.
okay.
So, anyway, so that having been said, what is the lowest temperature ever on July the 4th?
I'm going to say 57.
That's pretty close, Joe. It's a little bit on the warm side, but it's a pretty good guess. Frank R said 57, but Mike Waterhouse Banzai, you get the bell.
And
There you
James
go.
Davidson and Maggie P with latex dreams, all with double nickels.
Double nickels. That's right, and
And
that
I'm
was
going to,
in 1986.
right.
And I remember that because that was the year we celebrated the reopening of the Statue of Liberty. And I
Ah,
remember that. That was a. You talk about how nice it's going to be on Friday. 1986 4th of July was unbelievably beautiful. I think the high that day was like 70 or 72.
Oh,
Deep blue
nice.
skies, brilliant sunshine, low dew points, and again, an all-time record July 4th low of 55 degrees. Wow.
Wow.
How about what is the coldest day? Like the coldest daytime maximum. The coldest
The
daytime
coldest
maximum.
daytime high,
Yes.
I'll say I'll say 64.
Way, well, not way too warm, but that's too warm.
It was too warm. Okay. Christina Pedia says 62. Joe Z says 60.
62
62. I
in
said
19.
64. That's not way too warm. I was only off by 2.
Yeah, all right. Well, originally when I looked at it, I thought it would said 54, but 52, but it said 62. Anyway, that's in 1978. And the following year, by the way, my one of my worst forecasts, July 4th, 1979. I had gone on the air, Joe. We had just gotten the radio line from our weather office in Flushing to WMCA in New York, which meant that instead of sounding like I was on a scratchy phone line, it sounded like I was sitting right in the studio with Bert Knapp, the news director at WMCA. And the day before, I was telling everybody how gorgeous it was going to be on 4th of July, 1979. And as it turned out, this was one of the LFM, 2.LFM F-ups, if you will.
Right.
Um, it turned out, I wake up the next morning, 4th of July, look out the window, and the sky is streaked with high cirrus. And I'm saying to myself, what the heck is this? It's supposed to be perfectly clear and blue. What are these things? And it turns out that there was a little disturbance that was not picked up the day before by the model, which, as it approached the mid Atlantic coast, became more intense. And those high cirriform clouds thickened up during the afternoon. And by late in the day, there was drizzle. It was drizzly, and the temperature, if I recall, was like in the upper 50s to around 60. But it turned out to be it was warmer back in the morning. It was like near 70. That's why it was not the coldest
Right.
maximum high temperature like in 1978. But I wanted to slit my wrists. I I mean, like, I couldn't believe it. And of course, Bert, the late great Bert Knapp at WMCA, he reamed me, and deservedly so, every hour. Well, it was supposed to be a great day today. Now here to explain what happened is Joe Rayo. It was just horrible, horrible. And after the day was over, when it was like 6 o'clock and I'm getting ready to leave, I was like almost in tears. The phone rings and it was Bert Knapp. And Bert was an old veteran. He had been there already like 40 years. And he just told me, he says, they'll forget. The New York listening public has a short memory. Don't throw yourself out the window. Don't get too upset. This happens to everybody. All the other forecasters, it happened the same thing. He says, and he was absolutely right. It was, but still, I still remember to this day, one of my worst forecasts, 4th of July, 1979. Anyway, so that was that. The next question: what is the most rain ever to fall on the 4th of July?
Oh, God. I don't. I don't have any idea, a clue on. So I'll say 3.5 inches.
No, not that much.
Christina Pedias is 2.3.
Still not that much.
Harold Olson says 2.11.
Still not as much as that.
So clearly we're on Maggie P's down to 2. Tyler Fenga's 1.9. Keep
Wait,
going.
Tyler Fink is a little closer, but still a little bit on the high side.
Mike Waterhouse Bonsai at 1.6.
Rich Workmansky says 1.62. Now we're a little bit under the amount. I'm
Okay,
gonna I'm
well,
gonna
I mean, we could go
I'm
at
gonna,
this all day, so until we
I'm gonna
narrow
tell you
it down.
it was 1.76, and it happened in 1981. And I remember that day. I was working at that Queens weather office, and it was a relatively small coastal storm that raced up along the coast on the 4th of July and dropped a rather copious amount of rain in a rather short interval of time. 1.76 inches. Interestingly, the rain ended by the end of the day, and so the 4th of July fireworks went off on schedule with no rain problems. But during the day, forget about it. It was an absolute washout. But I can say with some confidence, Joe, and I think you'll agree, the antithesis, the opposite of the 4th of July 1981, is coming our way for 4th of July 2025. With again the sun, warm temperatures in the 80s, low dew points. It looks like we're going to have a great end of the week.
Okay. Was that the last question?
That was it.
All right. Oh, the thunder's getting louder here, so maybe we should go before I lose power. Um, so, uh, everybody, we're here tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will be here Thursday at our regular time, but we will be off on Friday and Saturday, and we will also be off next Sunday. So just mark that down. So there'll be no Sunday show this weekend. So,
And Craig Carlberg, I disagree with you 100%. I think maybe Mr. Jaffe will disagree as well. Joey says in 1976 during the bicentennial, it rained and delayed the fireworks till the next night. I don't think that was the case. Memory serves me correct. It was a Sunday, first of all, 4th of July, 1976. It was a warm day. It was a somewhat humid day, but the ships the ships went up and down the Hudson River okay, and they did have the big fireworks display that evening. So I don't think there was any rain or any delay of the fireworks on the bicentennial in 1976.
I don't remember rain on that day either. All right. Gotta go, folks. Have a great night. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.
Buy bonds.